As we've reported, President Trump's trade policy seems to be backfiring on Harley Davidson.
The iconic American company announced plans to shift some production to factories outside the U.S. The decision's in response to retaliatory tariffs from the European Union. The EU's trade chief said last week that it was, quote, left with no other choice after Mr. Trump imposed tariffs on 25% on steel imports and 10% on imported aluminum from the EU. For more on this, we turn to Yahoo Finance columnist Rick Newman. Rick, Harley Davidson said it's doing this to protect its business in the long term, but that'll cost them in the short term. What's your assessment of their decision?
Well, they're doing what they have to do, which is they have to sell motorcycles at a profit. And, you know, the Trump tariffs may not sound like that much. You know, some of the big ones range from 10% to 25%. But, you know, the profit margins for most companies are not 25%. In many cases, they're in the single digits. So when any cost goes up, that's what companies do. They look around and they say, what's a better way to build this product at a price I can afford to sell it to the customer to? And that's what Harley Davidson's doing in this case. They're saying, we cannot afford to pay this tariff on exported motorcycles from the United States to Europe, so we're going to have to build them elsewhere where we don't have to deal with the tariff.
But Harley Davidson is so iconically American. I mean, President Trump has praised Harley Davidson in the past as a great American company. In fact, here's what Mr. Trump said during a 2017 meeting at the White House.
Harley Davidson is a true American icon, one of the greats. Your motorcycles have carried American service members in the war and the wars. They take care of our police officers, and I see it so often. Whenever I go, whenever there's a motorcycle group, oftentimes it's a Harley, and the sound of that Harley is a little different, I have to tell you. It's really good. So thank you, Harley Davidson, for building things in America. I think you're going to even expand. I know your business is now doing very well, and there's a lot of spirit right now in the country that you weren't having so much in the last number of months that you have right now.
So then could this move by Harley Davidson now be considered a major blow for the president and his trade policy?
It's certainly a symbolic blow, and you know, they're not in a unique position. They're in a position similar to many other companies, and we're going to see other things like this happening. I mean, this is just what happens when the government starts to get involved and put, you know, basically add taxes on certain categories of products. Companies have to find workarounds, and I don't think Harley wants to be the poster child for how you respond to a trade war, but it is pretty ironic that it is such an iconic brand, as you point out, that is one of the first that's really says we have to do something about this.
Now, the president imposed those trade barriers on steel and aluminum to protect those sectors in the U.S., but now other sectors are being affected by the retaliatory trade measures being imposed by the EU. So what will win out, and what will hurt the U.S. economy more?
It's not mysterious how this works. When you raise a tariff on some class of product, well, you protect that product and you protect that industry, but you hurt everybody who purchases that product, whether it's something that goes into other products such as raw steel and aluminum, or whether it's an end product like a mobile phone or a TV that a consumer would buy. So what Trump is doing is he is basically pushing up prices in all these sort of select areas where he has singled out new types of imports for tariffs. Of course, our trading partners are now doing the same thing with U.S. products going to those countries. So we're seeing sort of what you might call small increases in prices right now, but those price increases will become bigger based on how far Trump wants to go with these tariffs. And he has threatened going much, much further than he has gone so far.
So do you expect to see other companies following suit, Rick?
I think some companies are going to have no choice. I mean, and believe me, I don't think they want to do this. I think Harley Davidson knows full well that now they are in the news with this. They seem to be opposed to doing something in opposition to Trump's policies. It's possible that the president may target their company specifically, which he has done with other companies. I mean, companies do not want to be put in that position, but they really have no choice. You cannot build products at a loss. You just can't do it. And when the price of one or two inputs goes up by 10 or 20 or 30%, which is what's happening with regard to the tariff the Europeans are putting on this product, you can't continue to make it the way you're making it, so you have to find workarounds. Big companies are really good at doing this. They have supply chains all around the world. They have a lot of resources and a lot of choices, and I have no doubt we're going to see some other companies doing this.
Rick, do you think it's a coincidence that the EU placed these tariffs on companies like Harley Davidson that use metals? Is this a retaliation specifically to hurt the lower end of the supply chain because the U.S. imposed those barriers on steel and aluminum imports?
I don't think they're targeting the lower end of the supply chain. I think what they're doing is targeting products that are recognizable, well-known brands or well-known products. And the more American, the better, because what the Europeans are trying to do in this case is draw attention to the problems caused by we're putting tariffs on you, so you're going to put tariffs on us. In fact, the so-called tit-for-tat tariff wars, I think what they're doing is trying to sort of get people's attention, and they have.
Right. So it's no coincidence the motorcycle was targeted. All right.
I don't think so. I think we're going to see other products. I mean, Kentucky bourbon is another one, Mitch McConnell's home state.
Right, right. All right. Rick Newman, thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.